air raid on the capital of Yugoslavia. Here now, a look back.
An aircraft believed to be an American warplane has been shot down.
8:45 p.m. Yugoslav time. Mayday, 12 midnight. Rescuers hear the locator beacon from the ground. The pilot's alive.
Nothing that happened today over Yugoslavia has dampened our resolve to see this operation through to its military ends.
Demonstrators chanted anti-American and anti-NATO slogans outside the American embassy in Moscow. Suddenly, gunfire. One of several gunmen stopped a jeep in front of the embassy, tried to fire off a grenade launcher. When it failed, automatic gunfire erupted from the back window of the vehicle. He did a good job. And look, he shot here and on the other side, too. Too bad he didn't kill anyone.
This military operation entails real risks, but the continued brutality and repression of the Serb forces further underscores the need for NATO to persevere.
60,000 people have crossed into Albania in the last 24 hours, and about 2,000 are crossing hourly, for a current total of about 80,000.
Refugees entering Albania are being stripped by the Serb border forces of their passports, their ID cards, their papers.
Serbian forces rounded up Albanian men throughout Peć and marched them off in an unknown direction.
We find they're coming with no possessions, literally in what they stand up in. The look in the eyes is so fearful.
Milosevic will agree to a ceasefire, will pull back some of his troops if the bombing stops first. President Clinton and NATO call the proposal unacceptable.
If there was ever any doubt about what is at stake in Kosovo, Mr. Milosevic is certainly erasing it by his actions.
We do appreciate the effort that Prime Minister Primakov made, and any movement towards our demands would be positive, but we regard this as falling far short.
The NATO air campaign is designed to raise the price of that policy.
6 days of NATO airstrikes have failed to take out Serb air defenses. Military officials report the Air Force is already running low on cruise missiles.
I stay in the basement 3 days and wait for somebody to kill us.
There are terrible, terrible things going on in Kosovo, with men being executed, women being raped, and hundreds of thousands of people being forcibly removed from their homes.
Today we actually have people at the border dying, collapsing. There's just no food. We're trying to pipeline food in.
Breaking news out of Macedonia tonight, now confirmed by the Pentagon, NATO, and the White House. 3 American soldiers missing in Macedonia. Search and rescue operation has been launched.
Good morning. 3 American soldiers have been captured by Yugoslavia and are being held as prisoners of war. These pictures of the 3 soldiers, clearly bruised, were played on Serbian TV early this morning.
It needs to be explained to the American people what's at stake here. If we don't prevail here, they'll be on the march in places like Pyongyang and Baghdad. Our credibility is at stake.
There was absolutely no basis for them to be taken. President Milosevic should make no mistake. The United States takes care of its own.
Good morning. There's no word yet on whether those 3 U.S. soldiers captured by Yugoslavia have been put on trial today.
There is absolutely no justification for putting them on trial. We will hold President Milosevic and his government responsible.
A huge concussion explosion ripping through downtown Belgrade.
An administrative building, headquarters, but also the Yugoslav headquarters as well. These are 2 of the several military targets on that expanded NATO list. People living here in downtown Belgrade, bringing home the fact that this phase 3 of this force operation is now on their doorstep.
Most of these people 24, 48 hours ago were sitting in their homes, warm, knowing that there was a crisis brewing, but never imagining that they would be forced into trucks and marched to a border and literally shoved across with no possessions, with no money, with no shelter, with no water, with no food, with no medicine, to sit and wait for help. And they wait in misery. I have done this for 33 years, and I've never seen anything quite like this.
Kiki, there can be no doubt that this is a humanitarian disaster of unparalleled proportions, that the high-tech air war now being fought has now taken the war right to the heart of Belgrade, and yet utterly failed to stop the carnage in Kosovo. And it's looking to me, now that we have Specialist Stephen Gonzalez and Staff Sergeant Andrew Ramirez and Sergeant Christopher Stone in the hands of the enemy, that we have a Balkan blunder from the Clinton-Gore administration.
Ali, I think on this Good Friday and the weekend that is one of the most holy for millions of Americans, both Jews and Christians, it's too early to call this. I think that it is not gone the way anyone would have wanted it, but it's also not over. I also think that Americans have to remember that when we stand up in our role as a world leader to prevent horrible tragedy, there will be tragedies that occur to us as well. And that's a tough place to be in.
We'll be right back with more.